Meeting come to order, just a recording. Good? Yeah. Okay, we don't have minutes from our last meeting, so we'll take care of the minutes at our following meeting. We have the 5 items on the agenda, 327, 333 Lambert Street are continued until our September meeting. The 4 Pleasant Park Road project, they withdrew their application. We are waiting on a letter on that. But for now it's withdrawn. And the Shingle Mill project requested a continuance until August 9th. Is that right? It was just August 9th they wanted?
Yeah, for their August meeting, that's what I remember. Whatever that is, yeah.
They'll probably continue that too, so. Okay. 365 Pump Street. I wasn't at the last hearing. I'm assuming the hearing's open?
Yes.
Does the applicant have any information off the board?
Yes. So just give a brief overview of our last meeting since you weren't here, maybe to inform some of the other members. Yeah, that was a little last meeting.
I'm pretty sure Deb wasn't here either, right?
Right. It's not. Thank you.
This basically has the same numbers that up top that we had on the handout at the last meeting. But for the record, Brendan Sullivan, Kevin Hart Consulting, now with the division of Merrill Associates, we've worked with Merrill Associates, so we division with them as well. Here with the applicant and the applicant's attorney, Mr. Sullivan, no relation to Mike Sullivan. The last meeting, I think we talked about the extensive mitigation that we're providing, and the additional mitigation that we're providing from the last submittal, notably the 25-foot buffer in the rear of the dwelling, which we didn't have before, which totals a roll of 6,000 square feet, as well as additional pavement we're removing in that buffer zone as well. We had moved the second access drive to the existing dwelling, which was over this area, we moved that outside the 25-foot buffer. We've also moved the roadway to the north, remembering that the north is to the bottom of the page. So the handout that I gave you kind of summarizes the wetland restoration and mitigation from what's existing, what was proposed originally in 2001, and what the current proposal is. And it said most notably the
2021.
2021, yes, I'm sorry. What did I say?
2001.
Oh, sorry. No, that wasn't
It
20.
seems like it's not.
Yes, it does. So we are still proposing the restoration of DPW to 8,400 square feet, which is that area of the wetland behind the rear of the house.
The existing house.
The existing house, yes. In the original proposal we had is 7,500 square feet of restoration. We bumped that up to 19,000, almost 20,000 square feet. So it's almost 3 times what we proposed before. And also the pavement area within the 25-foot buffer existing is 5,700 square feet. That's the existing driveway as it's serviced today to the existing dwelling, and a portion of this over here as well, total of 5,700 square feet. The original proposal had 2,800 square feet, we've gotten that down to 1,600 square feet. So where originally it was about half, now we're down to about almost a quarter or a third of the pavement that's within the 25-foot buffer. And also we've moved the driveway away from the resource area. The driveway is existing, it's about 15 feet away from the resource area. Originally we had it at 20 feet, so we moved it about 5 feet. We moved it an additional 6 feet away from the BBW, which is the critical point is where the closest point is where that 12-inch ADS pipe is that goes under and across onto the abutting property. And what we've also added, hearing your concerns from the last meeting about some of the critters and their movement and such, we've added a wildlife corridor. So we're going to put probably more so like an ADS like a Caltech chamber almost, to create a 2.5 foot wide by 1 foot high corridor under the roadway. Because as you remember, we do have retaining walls on both sides of the proposed roadway in this area. So any critters that do try and migrate, instead of hitting the wall and turning back or going around the sides, if they find this culvert, they can easily pass under and go on to the other side. I think that was about it. The only request last time was that we submit a revised variance request to include the work of the outlet for detention pond the underground infiltration pond number 1, the outlet, which is work within the 25-foot buffer. We didn't have that included in the original submittal, so I believe that was submitted. And I think that's really about it.
All right.
I do have a question, this isn't new, the wildlife corridor, tunnel, we'll call it, new.
Yep.
The last meeting. So, where it's located, it's gonna be a dry,
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it's not gonna be connecting the wetlands or anything, it'll just be aggregated, and I have it at approximately station 2 plus 50, I wanna get it away from the existing ADS pipe
Okay.
as much as possible.
so there's nothing, there'll be no like water going through
No,
and discharging, it's just.
Right, it'll be pretty much,
Dry.
the road is gonna be built up in that area, so
Okay.
the cover would be pretty much at grade, like where the grade is there today, so it'll be in the upland area.
And then if that's the case, that's a good I believe it's a good addition to the proposal, especially with the retaining walls there. Smaller mammals and, amphibians, that type of thing, probably would use it. Just to remind the commission, John Zimmer last week, his evaluation of the whole site, the vernal pool species, they'll be coming from probably the southwest. They'll be their upland habitat is really south is uplands, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's really
right,
south of the road.
right.
So anyways, it's a good addition for mitigation.
Other than that? anything
No,
else?
I can go through, they've added, from the original notice of intent and the commission denied under the bylaw, they've added substantial amount of mitigation, that was one of the reasons for denial. They've added additional mitigation, this is even further additional mitigation with the culvert, we call it. At this point, I don't see any further opportunity for reasonable, practical mitigation on the site. I think they've pretty much identified what they could do.
Wood, right? Deb?
My one comment was concerning talking last week about the critters not going across the road. And it's gonna be cheaper for them. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think they will be coming more from the south
Going
to north,
Going away from,
away, yes, yes.
and actually having the tunnel is way better.
Yeah.
So that,
That was my concern too, because even though it's not on this property, there is another potential rural situation to the north of that roadway, and that was, I think,
Yes.
why, yes. And that was why we both specifically had the concern about the movement of the critters instead of them walking across the road, flat.
So in case, in case they talk to each other, then there is a corridor for them to,
Because I was thinking of the East-West Parkway, also known as the Della.
Yep.
And how that had the road elevated and had very large, because we've got large deer there, and they have the access. And out west, they have, one of my books, Nature Conservancy or something like that, they actually have almost a highway off-ramp for buffalo and get wolves and everything else to actually go over these multi-lane highways. So it is something that can happen around here too, and it's a good thing to have that on the plan, just so I think that we're helping. I think I was just reading something about what we're supposed to be doing in helping, critters and maintaining our water systems and all that for us human use. So this is why we take issue with certain things. And we continue to take issue with certain things. If you want to go
Good.
until you get it right. I'm fine now.
I don't have any questions. Audience, anybody in the audience have any questions? 365 Concord Street? Questions, comments? Got one?
I think I'm gonna have more animals on my property.
And you are?
Carol Gordon, 333 Concord Street.
Yep.
I am north of that byway for the animals.
Two houses there.
Oh,
Second house down. Right. Anybody else have any other comments, questions? Is the applicant okay with closing?
we are. Yeah.
Motion to close hearing? Okay. Motion.
Check that they're not proper.
Oh, all right. Somebody else.
How do you want to go over the potential order of condition?
Sure. What I did was I prepared a draft approval for deliberation. Basically, I took the order of conditions that approved the project under the Wetlands Protection Act and then added to that. There was quite a long list of special conditions to the state order of conditions, and we added a few more. One of them was for the developer to certify the vernal pool now that they've determined it's certifiable. And I believe based on what John Zimmer said the last meeting, he collected, hopefully documented what he saw so that it would be an easy process online now. So it won't be heavy lift that way. The draft decision before you, if you go to the most important part of it, is the attachment B, which is the special conditions. We'll have to add this figure to attachment A because this is new. So we'll add that into here, into the attachment. And then attachment page,
This one.
yeah, so it's attachment B, findings of facts and special
Oh,
conditions.
all right, I passed by
Yep.
that.
Yeah, so
I didn't have that.
So we talk about, the history of this whole proceedings and the past NOI and this new NOI. We described the site, it's the same description as, the order for the state. We continue to, state that the boundary of the bordering land subject to flooding, the 100-year floodplain hasn't been approved under the bylaw, it's not approved under the state either, because there's no base flood elevation associated with that. We talk about, the statement from John Zimmer that the vernal pool on the property, is certifiable because he identified 12 spotted salamander, egg masses, so therefore it's certifiable. We state that not the full boundary around that certifiable vernal pool is not shown on the plan, so therefore the order only approves the boundary that's shown on the plan because we actually looked at it and it's accurate. The boundary that would be to the east, is not approved by the commission. That's towards the road. There's nothing proposed towards the road anyways, but we state that. Then we talk about the reasons for your original denial, and, which is on page 3. And then we list the mitigation that they're now proposing, restoration of 8,400 square feet of historically filled UDW, implementation of invasive species management plan during construction, restoration of almost 20,000 square feet of developed portions of the 25-foot no disturb, which is definitely a benefit to the protection of the interests of the resource areas and providing, one of them is wildlife habitat. And then there's a 75% decrease in pavement within the 25-foot no disturb along the proposed access road with this new proposal.
I have 71.
71. Oh, and that is correct, right? I'm saying that right.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. The stormwater design was revised to address the critical habitat. I believe the discharge was moved further away from the vernal pool boundary under this proposal than the one the proposal commission denied. That's a benefit. They formally requested the waiver for work within the 25-foot no disturb and also within small portion of the vernal pool resource area. They formally requested those waivers, and then I state that the Rockland Conservation Commission finds that the applicant has sufficiently minimized impacts to these areas with a redesign of the project. Talked about what this new design has done to minimize impacts to the 25-foot no disturb in the vernal pool resource area, which was described tonight. And then you have your general special conditions. I added the certification of the vernal pool within the B series of BVW prior to issuance of the certificate of compliance. If the commission would prefer, you can put a requirement that be done in the next 3 years because you never know when they'll come back to ask for a certificate of compliance. I can revise that. The commission wants to. And then
That's something we don't have in there. That's not something we don't have.
no, that's not a normal special condition. Nope. And I believe that was it. The remaining conditions were in the approval under the state.
So, the last go around, we approved it up under the state, so we have to review back on what project has changed. So
They'll have to come back. under the state, is that what you're asking?
No, so on our last go around, our public hearing on this project, we approved it under the state tax.
Yes.
Do we have to do that one also, with the project was changed?
They'll have to come back and request an amended order from the commission.
Is the applicant aware of that?
Was there a new DEP number issued?
I think there was a new.
Oh, you filed under both?
Yes.
Oh, okay, then no, they don't.
Yeah, so
No,
the other
okay.
one will be just be a certificate of
Okay, so-
compliance with closing it out.
Okay, thanks,
With no
so
work
this,
done.
so this draft order is under the state and the bylaw.
That's the
I'll have to
state
make
and
sure-
local, right?
Yeah, I'll have to make sure that everything's checked off.
Well, that's the reason I'm trying to get the straight here. So are we still voting under the state and the local separately?
Yes.
Okay, and we also have to vote on the waiver request,
Yes.
so that's part of it.
Yep.
Alright, so, can I get a motion to approve the project?
So moved.
In favor?
I need a second.
Unanimous?
second. Oh, second.
Okay, motion to issue the waiver request for the 25-foot no disturb zone. Motion, please. So moved.
So-
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Motion to issue the order of conditions under our local bylaw.
So moved. Yeah, Ron and Sean second.
Second? Yeah. All in favor? Unanimous. Motion to issue the order of conditions under the state act.
So moved.
All in favor? Unanimous. I think we covered all the bases.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We definitely got a better project out of it.
It's gonna be good either way, but yes.
What's that?
I said it's gonna be good either way, but yes, you did.
I think,
We're gonna do a nice job.
for the town, I think we got a better project out of it, and I think it's worth the wait.
We appreciate the work. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Great,
being
so they
with
have to make edits to this, add, so then I'll get it.
We have to have the orders to them.
Well, within 21 days, then you may have to, I don't know when the next meeting is gonna sign it. Oh, you can sign this, sign the back pages.
Yep, we can sign the back pages tonight.
Yeah.
And then Marty can modify it as needed.
And then I'll send it to Gary. Okay, then I'll get it.
So while we're, I have 2 copies here. Let's pull those
Let me
pages
just
off.
check to see,
Our next meeting, for the time,
Is it-
next meeting's August ninth.
is it? Well, then that's fine then.
The next meeting's August ninth.
I mean,
Earlier, just that this meeting was late.
so do we just wanna just sign everything, all completed our next meeting? Okay, that works for me, it works for everybody else.
yeah,
Good, cause I'd
make
rather
it
not.
happen, then it won't be
I'd rather not
pieces and
marry up
you
the
don't wanna,
signature pages to be
yeah, I don't
honest.
wanna, there's so, too many things look exactly the same.
How many days did you issue by?
21.
21 days.
Okay, so the only thing left on the agenda is 3-quarter steps. We just have to issue a COC, this is not a hearing, this is just a,
Right, it's not a
it's
hearing,
just something that we're
Right.
discussing.
Right.
Okay,
so just so we did the requisite site inspection. This is an old subdivision.
Yeah.
And the order of conditions was on the entire subdivision. So this is an individual lot within the subdivision, so the commission can't issue a full COC, but a partial one.
Yeah.
So we took a look at the site,
just like the Goldberg houses. that-
Yeah,
it's-
the site's stable, there was no issues there that we could see. We had no file that we could look at to see if they were, so it was such an old one, but based on what we could tell, it was sufficient enough, stabilized, and it didn't look like it's impacted wetlands from what we could tell, but the commission would go ahead and issue partial
Alright,
COC.
do we have a copy of that, Steve?
Yeah, we have a copy of it. And the people already moved into the house. It's like,
Motion to issue the COC for 3
alright,
Dennis Stetson.
So,
Okay, second. They have a. Okay. Relatively famous. Do we have a copy of that, Marty? We can sign?
yes, you each have, up there, looks like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Give it to the boss.
I got it.
Give it to the boss.
Heard that.
It's being recorded.
No. The downstairs was being recorded too.
I know, I'm on video.
I'm ready to make those of this.
Do we need 2 copies?
No, well,
You just make a copy of it for a file, right?
yeah,
So you won't do it.
not in
we're
a rush
signing.
to get, because the
Yeah, I
person's
know.
already moved in.
Oh,
It was a rush, you know, there's a rush.
now they don't care.
They sent me a check though.
By the way, did they send a check?
Yep, they did.
So, while we're signing, does anybody have any comments, questions? Otherwise, that's it. I don't think we can do those tonight.
No, I left them on the printer.
Motion to adjourn?
Can I ask on the voting, because you guys were firing up voting quicker than I can type, the local bylaws,
Alright,
so it's Charlene and,
tell me what you got.
so I've got motion to approve the waiver was, Virginia and Deb, right?
We got closed meeting with Charlene.
Alright, I have that already.
Alright, project approval was Charlene and Virginia. 25-foot was, Virginia and Ron. The Rockland bylaw was Ron and Charlene.
Wait, hold on a second.
Okay.
So go back to approving the project again?
Project approval?
Yep.
Charlene and Virginia.
Okay.
25-foot,
That was the waiver,
yeah, it was Virginia and Ron.
okay?
The Rockland bylaw was Ron and Charlene. And the state was Charlene and Virginia. And so did Lorraine, but it was kind of all over the place.
We're all
Was
over
it-
that.
Since I could hear the closest meeting.
What matters is they were all unanimous
Yes.
anyway,
Yes.
so that's the only thing that I would. What was unanimous? Thank you. What's that?
I know.
Okay, so, did we adjourn the meeting?
We were waiting until Deb had a chance to do the sign before
And I
it's
did.
officially closed. So now,
Alright.
Lorraine voted to get the hell out of here. I said,
Sounds good.